Next, we move on to the last and the final technical session for the day, and it is handled by Dr. Madan Balaraman, Senior Lecturer, Department of Educational Technology and Multimedia, Institute of Teacher Education, Ipoh Campus, Indonesia. Over to you, sir.
Japri Disha, I think it's a mistake. I'm not Dr. Mahadan. I'm Manimaran Vadivelu from Institute of Teacher Education, Ipoh Campus. It's a great pleasure for me to join with all of you in this very good, very wonderful evening as a chairperson for this session. This will be the fifth technical session for the International Virtual Conference, Language, Humanities, Social Sciences, and Education. So, I welcome all the audience and the paper presenter. So, for not further delay, I would call upon Dr. Sayan Day, okay, as the first paper presenter, Assistant Professor, Department of Mass Communication, Mizoram University. Doctor, please.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, very audible.
Yes. Yes. A very good evening to respected chairperson, sir, and my respected fellow mates. Since we are running short of time, I will try to make my presentation very brief and to the point. So without further ado, I will just, with the permission from the chair, I would like to share my screen with you all. So, sir, is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my presentation is on the topic of new media as an instrument of cultural hybridization, and it's a study of undergraduate college students of Assam in India. I'm Dr. Shande. I teach mass communication in the Department of Mass Communication in Mizoram University, Aizawl, India. So to start, basically in last 3 decades, we have seen that this new media, or the media we now call it like a connected media, it has opened up new equations, new frontiers, new paradigms in politics, in economics, in social setups, and more so specifically to be culture oriented. So this communication, it has given rise to a notion of various phenomena, various conceptions like connected space, virtual space, mobile space, and things like hybrid medium. So this new media can be called as a hybrid medium according to Elm, because this new media itself is a merger, is a convergence between the traditional media and the new media and the newer forms of media. So according to Elm, this internet has resulted in increasing Americanization of culture, which can often be equated as hybridization of culture, according to scholars like Crede. This intermingling or the convergence of online and offline culture has given rise to a notion of hybridity in cultural space. And nowadays that we see that when youths are the most loyal users of the new media platforms and their applications, it would be very interesting to investigate the effect of new media on youth and its cultural applications or the implications. So moving on, for this paper, extensive literature review was done, and from literature review, some of the main points or the main literature that came out, that according to Porter, internet has become a platform for production and makeover of culture and cultural indicators. According to Lindgren, interweaving of or interweavement of real and virtual world is the bedrock of hybridity of this contemporary culture or the culture that we live. The social media has used, the social media that is used through smartphones, or more specifically Android phones, it creates new social communication structure different from the present societal narrative with new cultural importance. You will be surprised to know that in some of the northeastern states in India, like Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, and Nagaland, there is a continuous rise of Korean culture or Korean wave, which is popularly known as Hallyu. The youths or the teenagers or the college going children or college going youth are very much engrossed in Korean notion of culture, reciprocating their way of fashion, their way of lifestyle, their way of talking, and even consuming Korean cultural products like Korean films and the music videos. So, at this point, my objective was to study the influence of new media technologies on youth and examine the cultural influences. So, the data methods or the methodology, the sample survey method was applied with systematic random sampling. 300 sampling units were taken. Basically, the units where the universe was college students only. The one municipal area in Silchar, one of the second largest municipal area in Assam, was taken for the study, and for the statistical analysis of the data collected, logistic regression was employed. So the major results that came out of the analysis is that this new media has influenced food habits of the youth, and they are consuming more Western foods than earlier. Sponsored links, ads, and the promotions of food chains, beverages are popularizing American food items. Youth prefer buying clothes and accessories from online platforms because they think that these platforms are rich in stock variety, and they give them an opportunity for hassle-free buying. So these online platforms have essentially promoted Western fashion among youth. New media has escalated the American fashion elements among youth, as youth seek more fashion information from the new media applications or the platforms. Youths now celebrate more Western events than earlier. This is due to the rise, due to the more penetration of new media in our society. New media has increased the popularity of American events, and nowadays even the youths in remote parts in India have started observing these more frequently, even sometimes shelving their indigenous celebrations. So youth have altogether accepted this mixed culture, where this flux or this equilibrium point is kind of there, that we cannot say that in India that complete Western culture has arrived, or we cannot say that the culture that the youths live in today, it's essentially an indigenous culture or the traditional culture. So we can see that here is a hybrid or mixture is coming up because of this continuous convergence between the online and offline culture, the real and the virtual world. So to discuss and conclude my paper, I would like to put forward some of the arguments. This new media has created some social hybrid actualities or the realities. People are now putting more effort towards their public image, in line with what Foucault has predicted as the expression of or the Foucault, sorry, Michel Foucault has predicted as the expression of the self. These new media platforms have led to the notions like more individualization and network society, and it is responsible for a hybrid culture through fatigue communication. Because nowadays these concepts like this bedroom childhood has come up. What is this bedroom childhood? Because nowadays, earlier, like in olden times, this childhood was mostly spent in in fields, in streets, playing and growing up with the community. But nowadays we see these children are more engrossed in their smartphones and gadgets, and they actually virtually lock themselves up in their bedroom or their private confinements to seek amusement or entertainment for whatever matter so these kind of changes are also occurring in the social patterns or in the society. New media has led to this cultural hybridity, which is a resultant of more and more convergence of offline and online cultures. Now this growing cyberspace or the network society, these virtual communities have they have various or varied dimensions of cultural hybridization, because we live in an era of 24/7 online presence. And to conclude, hybridity is nothing but, we can hear after seeing all these arguments and after going through this analysis of this data, or this paper finally argues that this hybridity is nothing but Americanization of culture across globe. It is the mere acceptance of American elements or the cultural indicators in indigenous societies in the name of hybridization. So this is all. This is all. Thank you very much for patiently hearing to my presentation. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sayan. Uh, Thank you, Dr. Zain. They can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's a very good informative paper. Informative paper. So when you got talk about the hybridization of culture, okay,
Yes,
there will be a blend when the new culture blends with the traditional culture.
yes, sir.
So can you give some of the examples in your country that have been we have a type of hybridization of the culture there in your country, please?
Like, sir, like nowadays, like
We're
the this,
not talking about the domination of the culture. As you said just now, the Western culture more dominate the young people there, right? So we want to know the hybridization when it's become blends together with the traditional culture of your country. Okay, can give
like, sir,
example.
in northeast, sir, this Assam and Nagaland, these two states are neighboring states. So the villages which lie in the border of Assam and Mizoram, Assam and Nagaland, there is a Pidgin or Creole kind of language has developed. It is known as Nagamis. It's a mixture of both Naga language where and the mixture of Assamese language, and the residents of these border villages, they often do trading and exchange of goods and commodities through this language. This has essentially come up as an option for business purposes. So this is one example from the indigenous setup only. Otherwise, if we talk about the western blending of culture in India, or in my parts, like I have mentioned, like this uh, essential these kinds of like this are in colleges or in in educational setups. Nowadays we are seeing this kind of various cultural activities like this prom nights and the things which were not essentially a part of Indian culture, but gradually they have, over a period of time, they have become they have slowly assimilated into this Indian culture, specifically in tribal states or the states where this Christian population is higher, where we can see this kind of a little bit of blending between the Western culture and the indigenous tribal culture, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. So now I open the floor for questions from the audience. Is there any question? You can forward the question now, please. Any questions on this paper presentation? You can ask Dr. Sayan Day. Okay, I think there's no question. Thank you very much, Dr. Sayan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So we'll go further on with the second presenter, because for this session we have about 8 presentations. Okay, so we are short of time. So we'll go on with the second presenter, Jimli Gogoi, West Guwahati College of Education, Assam, India. The title, Nasal Assimilation in Missing Language. Okay,
Ye-
please, Jimli, sorry.
Yes, am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone, respected chairperson, sir, and all the presenters. I am Jimli Gogoi from Assam, and I am going to present on the topic nasal assimilation in missing language. So, sir, can I proceed with
Sure.
sharing my screen?
Okay, proceed, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, is this visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, sir. So I would like to introduce what is missing about missing language. Missing is an Eastern Tani language of the Tibeto-Burman language family, spoken mostly in Assam as well as Arunachal Pradesh. So in Assam, there are some districts where missing language is spoken, mostly in Lakhimpur,
Dhemaji, Sibsagar, Majuli district, and in Arunachal Pradesh, there is a district where missing language is spoken, that is Siang district. The closest relative of missing is the Adi community, both ethnically and linguistically. And despite being mutually intelligible, the dialects of missing differ from each other in phonology, morphology, morphophonology, morphosyntax, and lexical levels. It means um, all the dialects of missing language having their own kind of linguistic features. So these are the figure which shows distribution of missing community in Assam as well as in Arunachal Pradesh. So there are 15 consonant in missing language. This shows 15 consonants, and there are 14 missing vowels. And today I would mostly focuses on the assimilation process. So first, let us know what is assimilation process. Assimilation is an alternative phonological process involving at least two sounds of two segments within a word or across the word. In assimilation process, a sound that spreads a feature to an adjacent sound to its adjacent sound, so it is due to ease of articulation. So nasal assimilation, as the term nasalization refers to spreading the nasal features to its adjacent sound, the assimilated sound is more likely to be nasalized, having the nasal features in it. And in nasal assimilation, trigger sound spreads its place feature specially to the target sound. For that reason, nasal assimilation is known as nasal place assimilation. So nasal assimilation may be a kind of homogenic assimilation, refers to that type of assimilation when sounds share same types of place assimilation to produce another sound. So nasal assimilation occurs in language with just specific patterns. It means all kind of all languages have their own kind of nasal assimilation process. A sound becomes more likely a nasal when it's get assimilated in a specific way. It may be both progressive and regressive. So the progressive refers the direction from left to right, and regressive refers the direction from right to left. So nasal assimilation in missing language. The missing language has its own nasal assimilation pattern, and the language prefers regressive kind of assimilation. The voice stop, which is on the coda position of a syllable or segment, is followed by a nasal sound that are available in their language get assimilated to another nasal sound. And the assimilate sound are the voice stops, and the assimilators are the following nasal sounds, and the assimilant sounds are resulting nasal sounds. So in the missing language, the voice stops like ba, da, and ga are the target sounds, and nasal sounds like ma, na, nga, and nya are the trigger sound in the nasal assimilation process in missing language. So coming to the next slide, nasal assimilation in missing, it especially happens when a root and suffix get closed. So the suffix spreads its place pressure, and the sound gets nasalized in the coda position of the root word. So the parameter these are the parameters in missing language in nasal assimilation. So the trigger is nasal. To target means who is going to be changed is voice plosive. Direction I have already said, right to left, that is regressive. Then locality condition is adjacency, means the both trigger and target must be closed with each other, and domain is root and suffix. So there are some kind of nasal assimilation, especially in missing language. The first rule is the coda sound ba of one syllable becomes ma, while the consonant.
Please welcome. I don't know, both of you here or one of you who's representing for this paper presentation. GP Donish, are you here? GP Donish? Dr. G. Suhitar? Okay. I think they are not here. So we will go on with the uh, final presentation. So I would like to call upon D.V. Litty Davis. Are you here? I think they are not here. So now I hand it over to the organizer. If the paper presenter they are not here, so that will be our end of this fifth technical session for this international virtual language on language international virtual conference on language, humanities, social sciences, and education. And it's I thank the organizer to give me a great opportunity to be a chairperson for this session. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I handed it over to Jeplet Isha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us for a long time, and thank you, presenters, for your wonderful presentation. With this, we are ending today's session, and please do join us tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. IST. Thank you very much, each participants. Thank you.